Hey, this is Sarah with Fully Stoked Podcast. Cody is not with us again today because we have an extra special guest, Meghan Flint.
Hello.
Meghan is a good friend of mine and an entrepreneur, a mother, a homemaker. She wears a lot of hats. She's an expert in Pinterest. She's an expert in virtual assistants and probably all kinds of things. We're going to talk about everything today. So, how about Meghan? If you had to describe your business in a terrible Tinder bio, what would it say?
So I'm not good at coming up with this stuff. And so I asked ChatGPT to help me. And basically, I made my own little version. Swipe right if you like messy creativity and long walks down the crafting aisle. A love for Canva and geeking out over the latest Pinterest trends is a must.
I love it. I like that. Why not? I love it. So I heard you say Canva.
Yes.
I'm going to need your Canva expertise, I'm pretty sure, one day. I think all of the women in our networking group probably could benefit from a Canva expert. So would you say you're an expert?
I would say I am in the sense of the creative side,
Okay.
not necessarily like the presentation side.
Okay.
But even my girls who are 7 and 10 are now using it because they see me using it to design certain like t-shirts and things like that, or like I've made a journal with it. And so even at 10 and 7, they're learning how to use it. So definitely the creative side of it.
Yeah.
I use that a lot.
Okay. Well, more to come on that because I use Microsoft Office for everything and Publisher, but I think Canva is similar to Publisher but different. So it's so different that I get caught up. I'm like, but how do I do this?
There's so much you can do with it. I mean, I use it for Pinterest too.
Wow.
There's so many templates. Like even if you're not good at coming up with your own things, you can use the templates to move stuff around, plug in your own things, and have yours. That's
Okay.
really easy.
Okay, well, we should do that. We
Sounds
should
good.
do like an educational thing on it one day. All right, so let's talk about like where you're from and how you got here in this area. We're outside of Charlotte, and what brought you here, and tell me a little bit of background about that.
So I grew up outside of Ocean City, Maryland. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yes, I think everybody. It's pretty famous.
Eastern shore of Maryland, where, there's lots of cornfields and chicken farms, and everything's like 15 years behind. Yeah, I grew up in a one-stoplight town.
Wow.
So lived there until 2022. Well, in that area. And then my husband decided to put in an application for his dream company. We were not hoping for North Carolina because we don't like the heat, neither one of us. And Maryland on the Eastern Shore, the heat's very similar to what it is here. Humid, gross. And so, of course, we ended up here. And so he got his job, and we sold our house in Pocomoke, Maryland, and we moved here in 2022, and we've been here since September of that year.
2022. So, okay, so we were coming out of all the shutdowns and everything.
Yep.
Okay, so have you always been a business owner, or is that something that you started when you moved here?
So when my youngest was born, I actually became a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And so I've been a stay-at-home mom for almost 8 years. Through that time, like most moms probably, even who don't stay at home, you kind of lose sight of what you want to do, especially when you've been at home with them that long.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was like right around COVID. They were like 5 and 4. And I was getting a little bored.
Yeah.
Prior to having kids, I worked in food service. I was a food and beverage manager. I have 2 college degrees, and I had all these things I wanted to do. And then I was at home with them, and I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do anymore.
Right.
And so one of those college degrees, something I've always liked doing, was writing. I have a bachelor's in English, and I decided one day, I talked to my husband. I was like, hey, I want to start a blog.
Yes.
And even though that's not directly owning a business, that's kind of like a step in that direction.
Absolutely.
Because you can earn money with it. And so I started, I think it was 2021, I started what I called Eastern Shore Eating. And it was a blog about restaurants on the Eastern Shore of Maryland.
Nice.
And like the food culture, because on the Chesapeake Bay and on the Atlantic Ocean there, the culture with the food is very different. Lots of seafood.
Yeah.
Lots of like Southern food too, because technically that part of Maryland is part of the South, and I think a lot of people forget that.
Yes.
And so I was doing that, and then when we found out we were moving, I was like, oh great, now I gotta completely change this.
Right.
And that kind of funneled into where I am now. So I kept writing. I went through like mommy blog, a little bit of coffee blog because I really do like coffee.
I didn't. Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
I've been drinking it since I was a kid,
Okay.
and I always knew that I wanted to own a restaurant or coffee shop of sorts, but nothing ever like this. And so through all of that, I think I kind of really unlocked my creative side of my brain and was like, well, I can do this and I can do this. And then my ADHD kicked in, and I eventually landed on where I'm at now, a macrame kit later, and slime with my kids. I started Flint Family Creations and figured out that I hate social media, but I love Pinterest.
Okay.
And so the two have kind of married one another for me. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I ended up here.
Well, I can't wait to hear about Pinterest. I'm really.
And that's my
interested to
baby.
see.
It's brand new,
Yes.
essentially, if you really think about it. It's only like 6 months old.
Yeah.
My business, anyway, not Pinterest.
Okay. I was like, is it? Yeah.
No, Pinterest is very old.
Yeah. Well, I think, and there's so many misconceptions, or I don't know if they're misconceptions, but I think most people think that Pinterest is not a good way to market themselves or make connections, but that's just not true. I think you've talked about it before. All right. So I have a couple more questions. Tell me about Flint Family Creations. What do you specialize in? Do your daughters help create the things? Does your husband? Is it just you? Where do you sell your goods? Are you online? Are you in person in a storefront?
So it started off just me with macrame. And then my kids are like, Mommy, we want to earn money. And I'm like, well, you're like 6 and 9. So how's this going to work? So I gave it that name because I wanted to leave it open in case they wanted to join. And so since then, they now make all kinds of stuff with me. I've taught them how to make macrame. They help me make jewelry.
Wow. Jewelry.
Yeah, just like beaded, like what I'm wearing now.
I love it.
So they're learning things. Like I said before, they're learning Canva. So like soon we'll be doing color your own bookmarks that they've designed that I just have to go back and edit. When I first started, it was more of like kind of what everyone else is doing, where it's just like, oh, let's make some keychains and wall decor. But after talking to some people, I realized I need to put more of myself into it, like our story. And so really focusing on them and what makes, not what makes us happy, but what we're passionate about. Because like my oldest has sensory processing disorder. So the slime is not only fun, but it's therapeutic. And so like being able to put that part of us into it to help other people, or like making other sensory toys and things like that. Like that's kind of where we're headed now. It's more about being like a family and creative together than just like, let me slap a wall hanger on the wall.
Right. That's awesome.
So, and my husband has helped, but he's so busy that he's just like, I need to rest. He makes like paracord stuff sometimes. So like, paracord, it's like the thicker like nylon and vinyl type cord that you might see a lot of men use for like keychains or hunting slings, but he doesn't help us very often in that way.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So it's a whole family thing. So it's really cool that you're doing that with your girls and teaching them all those things. But I love also that the sensory toys are being addressed. He's so dirty. Can you hop down? Can you hop down, bud?
Yeah. I mean, they always see me working and they want to work with me. So I figured, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I do feel like I work a lot. So.
Yeah. They're like, hey, can I make something? And I'm like, sure. But I think the second part of your question was, where do we sell? I think that's
yes. Where do you sell?
So I don't know if you've heard of Dandelion Children's Consignment in Monroe.
I think, where is that one?
It's right off of 74 in the same like shopping area as Edible Arrangements. It's near like a Target. We sell in there, and she actually lets the girls sell in there too. So I have to approve it first, obviously. Yeah. But she's not against their items being on the shelf. So sometimes they get their little spot.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then we're also online. So we have our own website, and we're on Etsy.
Okay. So, and I'll link all of that in the summary here. So you'll be able to go shopping for not just sensory things, but you do have a good variety. Okay. So that's awesome. I enjoy sensory things.
Yeah, I think a lot of grown-ups do because we didn't get to play with them.
I know.
We were outside in the dirt or, playing in the trees. Yeah, slime wasn't really a thing. A lot of parents are afraid of slime.
Really? What?
I think it's just because they think that, like, it's going to destroy everything. And I don't want to offend anyone, but like if you set the boundaries at the beginning, like I did with my girls, they do listen. Yes, they're going to test the boundaries.
Sure.
But they keep them at the table or, in the areas that they're allowed to have them. So
yeah. Well, boundaries are good. We've been talking about boundaries a lot.
Yes.
I think in all of our groups, in life, I think being women, I don't know. I mean, I know you're a bit younger than me, but just being a grown up woman, you start figuring out that you need boundaries too. And then in business, I've found that you actually need boundaries in business relationships. So I have more questions for you. Give me a day in the life of Meghan because you do. I want to know about Pinterest and virtual assistants. Are they the same thing or are they different?
So I'm not a general virtual assistant. I will only be a virtual assistant for someone who needs Pinterest help.
Okay, got it.
So a day in the life of Meghan is a little chaotic. Usually we wake up at like 5:20 and my first job is getting the kids up and getting them to school. I drive them to school every day. They're in elementary school, so it takes some pushing to get them out the door because they're not, they're 10 and 7. They still need help. And then once they leave, that's usually when I sit down and start working. So with Pinterest in particular, usually what that entails, where I'm new, I'm still building my client base. So I'm looking for people that I can pitch to. I'm looking at my own things because that's obviously where I'm learning. The few clients that I do have, they've been awesome because they're not in the same business as me. So I get to see a little bit outside of that. But things like Pinterest trends and keyword research, those are things I was looking at it this morning, Pinterest trends, to see what's coming up right now with the seasons changing. Otherwise, like when I'm not doing that, I need to get better at social media for that. That's a new thing for me still, so I'm working on that. But obviously Canva, again, spending a lot of time, making the pins, looking at the descriptions and, trying to make them optimized for SEO, which is search engine optimization, putting in the words that people or keywords that people are looking for when they're on there searching.
So is that the same thing as the keywords?
Yeah.
Okay. Pinterest keywords?
Yeah.
Okay.
And once I've done that, I'm, probably a couple hours in between that and social media stuff for my own like creative stuff. And then I might move on to actually using my hands to do something because I can't sit there all day. I get antsy.
So then you create.
Yeah, so then I get creative and start making stuff. Or if I have an appointment for the girls, being a stay-at-home mom and working solely at home, my schedule, my day-to-day, it's very flexible and all over the place. There's not like a set schedule that I have to follow.
So glad you said that. That affirms me.
Yeah.
Because I work from home too. Yeah. And it's good that it's flexible, but it is kind of all over the place as needed.
Yeah. You have to be self-disciplined, which, I mean, I'm still a work in progress. I've only been doing this for the Pinterest side of it for about 6 months. But if I have to work at 7:00 at night after they've gone to bed, then that's what I do. Or if I need to create something, I'll sit next to my husband on the couch and we'll watch whatever we're watching as I'm making something. So yeah, I'm just flexible in that way. No day is the same. Day to day is completely different.
So I think the self-discipline thing is key. And you said you're a work in progress, but I bet you have a lot more self-discipline than many people because you're a business owner. I mean, you have to, create your business, figure out who you're going to pitch to, create the products, take them, set them up, make sure you're making money. It is, I mean, my industry is mortgage industry and finance is a little bit different, but it's the same thing. I have to find the initiative to get up and go do the work and then spend time with my family and then get out and pitch to the right people and then the loan products and then educate and then make sure I'm spending time with my family, whether I'm sitting on the couch with my husband while I'm on the computer or something else. It's a work in progress and it's always different, always different. I do think that you're very self-disciplined. So with the Pinterest, we talked about SEO and keywords being the same. Rena gave me a great website. You probably already know it, but it helps show you the keywords on any search. So it might help. I don't know. I can get that to you in a little bit.
Okay. There's several out there.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones that a lot of people
you already
use.
know them. You probably already know
you can still tell me just in case.
Yeah.
I learn new stuff every day.
Yeah, I don't know any of it. It's just networking and meeting people who are experts in everything. And then you just pick up little tidbits here and there. So let's see. Well, what is the biggest challenge that you've faced in your life, whether it's personal or business, and how did you overcome it?
So the biggest challenge, I think, almost always has been myself, as weird as that might sound. I don't know. I, if I were to go back to my childhood, there'd be all kinds of stories, but like, I think the biggest thing through all of it has been me. I wasn't a problem kid or anything like that,
Yeah.
but apparently I've been in therapy for a couple years now, and
Yeah.
apparently I'm a recovering people pleaser
Oh, me too.
and peacekeeper. So in that sense, you know, trying to work through that, but then also on the other hand, you know, I've got all the mental health stuff we were talking about when I got here, finding out this past year that I have ADHD, you know, all of that, I mean, is something I haven't completely overcome it, but it's something every day that like you just get better at, you know, knowing yourself, paying attention to what's going on in your brain. Um, I've been fortunate enough to have an attitude and mindset where I'm always self-aware, and so I don't let it get in my way. If I can help it, I have no problem asking my doctor, my therapist, reading a book, talking about it. My husband probably, it's like, oh, here we go, another, you know, therapist moment.
Yes.
But, you know, it sounds weird maybe to some people, but really, like, I have been my biggest challenge. My brain, just, you know, how it's constantly going.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just a challenge sometimes.
I really I respect the way that you said that it was yourself, because I think, I don't know, I think probably most of us, that's our mindset, our limiting mindset or whatever. But then when I mean, not we, but like some people I hear blame it on others, or this, my childhood, or, you know, my ex or whatever. And it's like, or you overcome that, right, and you move on, you set a new goal, and if you focus on that, the past or someone else, it's almost like you can't really grow. But when you say, "Well, overcoming myself, I've made decisions, maybe they were not the smartest decisions, like for me in relationships, but that was me. I need to overcome myself in order to get over that and move on to the next level." So I just think that's really cool. It's humility, really, that you would say that. It's just, I think a humility is very attractive. It's like, I just really like that.
Thank you. And it's not always big things like people, you know, you say, hey, I'm a challenge, but like it can be like being so like all over the place one day, scatterbrained that like I just can't think straight. Like it could be something as small as that. So like it can be the big things sometimes, like the mental health stuff. Or it can be the like just, you know, feeling totally frazzled that day.
Right.
It doesn't always have to be something huge, but I really am like my biggest challenge.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's like an inspire. You should do a talk on that. That's quite inspiring.
Thank you.
Your therapist seems amazing. Okay, let's see. What's the worst business advice you ever got?
So I think right now, like if you look at Instagram, there are the mompreneurs. I think that's how you say it. And the small business owners that are like, if you do this, then you're going to be successful overnight. And while I haven't gotten anything directly to me, advice wise, you know, I've seen all of that and it's definitely affected me. Like you see it and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to try that then. Trying to be like everybody else and doing what everybody else is doing is not, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have that information as a foundation, but thinking that you're going to go in doing what everyone else is doing and being successful right away, it's not going to happen. Like it takes time.
Right.
It takes patience. It takes you being willing to like actually be yourself a little bit and not just trying to be, you know, like everybody else doing what you're doing. And I think that's like part of why that Instagram and Facebook ad culture that you see right now is kind of dangerous, because people are trying to make more money.
Like the coaching.
Yeah.
All the coaching.
Yeah. I'm not saying all of it is bad, but like those stories that you see that they're like, oh, well, I did X, Y, and Z, and then I was able to retire, and then I retired my husband, and like, you should do this now. Like, it's going to take you a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
And the people, and I've seen a couple business owners that have given the advice, which I appreciate, where they're like, don't try to be like everybody else. That's better than the ones that are telling you to like just do this and you're going to be good.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to work.
That's good. That's good. All right. So we talked about your website and your social media. You said you're working on that, but you are on Facebook.
Facebook and Instagram.
Instagram, okay.
And Pinterest.
Of course.
I'm working on YouTube a little bit this year, but it's still fairly new too.
That you have any upcoming projects that you want to talk about besides that? Well, I guess those are the biggest.
Yeah, I'm really just working on spring products with the girls, you know, to get that out. And then I'm working on where the Pinterest side of it is still pretty new.
Yeah.
Just trying to give my website a refresh now that I've had a few months to kind of sit on it and look at it. And adding a couple service options and just trying to grow my clientele and my base because it's still, you know, in the baby stages. It takes time.
You have a free discovery call, is that right?
I do have a free discovery call.
Awesome. And then I'll link that too. Is it going to be a Calendly?
Yes.
Okay, great. So check it out. Free discovery call. I mean, it can't hurt. Can definitely help. Any final words of wisdom for business owners and moms out there?
I would say give yourself some grace because, again, we live in the world where everything looks pretty on Instagram and Facebook, and things take time and you're going to mess up, and don't beat yourself up for it. I mean, I've been at this now for 3 years, and it's taken me about 3 years to finally figure out what I want to do. So, and it doesn't have to be like you throwing away money. Just give yourself time and grace and you'll figure it out.
I love that.
Thanks.
That's really, really good. Maybe you should write a book.
I haven't been told this before.
Really, really appreciate that. I think, and the way that you just said it is just calming with wisdom. It affected me. I'm like, that's really good. Just be kind to yourself. Have grace for yourself. It takes time. It does.
It does.
I personally would like for my business to just skyrocket. Just be done, right?
I know,
Just like, oh, cool, we're on autopilot
If
now.
only.
But there's lots of learning too in the process, you know, and that's very valuable because then you can share it with other people.
Yep.
And anyway, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. And I can't wait to hear more about Pinterest. I know that there's a way to grow your social media following with Pinterest, and that is the topic for
it's a big
upcoming talks. I'm very excited about that. Some of the stats you gave us the first time you told us about Pinterest were incredible.
Yeah.
I just had no idea how valuable Pinterest is. So I can't wait to dig into that. That's my next step. So I'll be doing the free discovery call very soon. And anyway, so thank you so much for coming. See you next time.